Welcome to Concrete Block, your go-to source for in-depth analysis and unbiased reporting on the latest news stories. I'm your host, Walter. Today, we're diving into a complex web of international diplomacy, gaming culture, and domestic politics. We begin with a significant development in the ongoing conflict between Ukraine and Russia. Following a summit with Russian President Putin, U.S. President Trump has dropped his demand for a ceasefire in Ukraine. This sudden shift in policy has left many wondering about the implications for the region and the global community. We'll be exploring this story further, examining the potential consequences of this decision and what it might mean for the future of international relations. In other news, the world of retro video gaming has taken center stage, with enthusiasts gathering to celebrate their shared passion. One gamer, known for his pink hair and charismatic personality, has become a beloved figure in the community. But beyond the nostalgia and excitement, there's a thriving economy surrounding retro games, with collectors and fans willing to pay top dollar for rare titles and merchandise. Meanwhile, in Washington, D.C., West Virginia Governor Patrick Morrisey has announced plans to deploy hundreds of National Guard troops to aid in President Trump's efforts to take control of policing in the nation's capital. This move has raised questions about the role of state-level military forces in domestic law enforcement and the potential impact on community relationships. As we navigate these diverse stories, we're committed to providing you with accurate, balanced information, free from bias or sensationalism. Our goal is to help you understand the complexities of the world around us and to spark meaningful conversations about the issues that matter most. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Concrete Block. Welcome back to Concrete Block. We're glad you're still with us as we dive into the latest developments from around the world. In this segment, we're going to take a closer look at the historic summit between U.S. President Donald Trump and Russian leader Vladimir Putin. The two leaders met in Alaska on August 15th for a highly anticipated meeting that had many wondering what would come out of it. And while some were hoping for a breakthrough on issues like Ukraine, others were more skeptical about what could be achieved. According to reports, the meeting between Trump and Putin was cordial, with both leaders expressing a desire to improve relations between their countries. However, it's unclear whether any significant agreements were reached, particularly on the issue of Ukraine. We've seen reactions from European leaders who are concerned about the potential implications of a deal between the U.S. and Russia that doesn't involve them. Some have expressed worries that Moscow and Washington might strike a deal without considering the interests of Ukraine or its European allies. On the other hand, many Russians seem to be welcoming the summit as a positive development. Some have expressed hope that it could lead to an end to the conflict in Ukraine, which has been ongoing for over 3 years. It's worth noting that the Kremlin has long portrayed European leaders as obstacles to peace, and it's unclear whether Moscow is willing to engage in meaningful dialogue with them. Meanwhile, Trump's decision to meet with Putin has been seen by some as a significant diplomatic victory for the Russian leader. As we try to make sense of this complex situation, it's clear that there are many different perspectives at play. While some see the summit as a positive step towards improved relations between the U.S. and Russia, others are more cautious about what it might mean for the future of Ukraine and European security. We'll continue to follow this story and bring you updates as more information becomes available. For now, it's clear that the meeting between Trump and Putin has raised more questions than answers, and we'll be watching closely to see how things develop from here. Stay tuned for our final story of the day, right here on Concrete Block. Welcome back to Concrete Block, folks. We're wrapping up today's show with a story that's been making headlines across the nation. The Trump administration has taken a significant step in its efforts to address what it calls a crime and homelessness emergency in Washington, D.C., by deploying hundreds of National Guard troops to the city. Now, let's break down the details. At the request of the Trump team, West Virginia Governor Patrick Morrisey has agreed to send 300 to 400 members of the state's National Guard to assist in the takeover of the city's police department. This move comes after President Trump announced plans to temporarily take control of the D.C. police force, citing concerns over public safety. But here's where things get interesting. According to U.S. Justice Department data, violent crime in Washington, D.C. actually hit a 30-year low in 2024. So, Some are questioning whether this move is truly necessary. Others argue that it's an overreach of federal power and an infringement on the city's autonomy. To add another layer to this story, D.C. officials and the Trump administration have negotiated a deal that will allow the city's police chief to remain in charge of the department, but with some conditions. The police chief will be required to cooperate with the White House's immigration policy, which has been a point of contention. Now, we want to hear from you, our listeners. Do you think this move is justified, or is it an example of federal overreach? Share your thoughts with us on social media using the hashtag #ConcreteBlock. It's also worth noting that this isn't the first time the Trump administration has taken a bold step in asserting its authority. The president has been known to push boundaries and challenge traditional norms. But as always, we'll continue to provide you with balanced and unbiased reporting so you can make up your own mind. That's all for today's Concrete Block. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, stay informed.